round of golf today. It was nice out there. Beautiful day. Finally got a beautiful day. It's been a 100-year flood around here. Unbelievable. But you know, as we said earlier, just everybody's excited about getting started. I know you guys got a lot of questions, so we'll just take them and see where it goes.
Coach, has there been a different sense of urgency with that Georgia game as the first one all the players are looking forward to?
Yes and no. I mean, again, the opening game every year at Clemson is in this part of the country for everybody is big because people just they love college football and they want to get going. They don't care who you play. And I tell our team all the time, everybody's a faceless, nameless opponent. We're playing Clemson every week. That's who we're playing. That's our toughest opponent every single week is Clemson. And that's the mentality that I've tried to ingrain in these guys so that they're, not up this week, down the next week, and, oh, this is a big game, oh, this isn't a big game. Listen, the scoreboard lights up, it's big. Irregardless of what the name on the jersey is. But having said that, just like last year when you're going to open up with a game like Auburn in Atlanta, a lot of national TV and all that, there's just so much more noise kind of from a national standpoint surrounding the game than maybe you would have if you were playing a little bit more of a non-BCS type opponent. And that's the biggest difference. It just the national exposure comes from it, and then you throw in the fact that it's Georgia. This is Clemson, Georgia. I was telling somebody at the house last night. I mean, when I first got the job in December of '08, I remember somebody asking me about Georgia, how excited they were to play Georgia in 2013, and I'm like, I just hope I can live to 2013. That was just the furthest thing from my mind, but that's the significance of this game. And then I grew up watching Clemson, Georgia. There's a tremendous amount of history, and it's been neat to kind of watch it unfold because, again, all the way back to when I first got the job, people were talking about this game. Now you fast forward 4 years, and both teams finished in the top 10. It's Clemson, Georgia, game day, ESPN, night game, all that stuff. It's just, it makes it exciting. Our players they don't live in a cave. They understand the importance of this game. But, I think it's one of those things that you have to really manage, and you got to be careful of in games like this because, if you just put everything into this game and it's the, win all or else type of deal, and you win the game, well, if you don't manage it the right way, it's a letdown, and it's that roller coaster deal, and vice versa. I mean, if you don't win the game, both of these teams have great aspirations to big goals, big dreams for the season, and I think both of us hope to be in that top 10 competing for the whole thing when it's all said and done. And the winner of this game isn't guaranteed a slot, and the loser in this game is not guaranteed to be out of it. All you got to do is just look at the last couple of years. Georgia lost an emotional game early last year, and they're 5 yards away from playing for the national title. Alabama won it 2 years in a row. They lost at home in November. So the key thing is to just stay focused on the right things, and that is your commitment, your preparation, your work ethic. What our formula for success as we've defined it at Clemson, and the rest of it will take care of itself. Just keep it all in perspective. When we get into camp, everybody senses the energy, and we can draw on that energy, but you can't let it drain you and distract you. And that's the thing that you got to do a good job of managing. But hopefully our guys have a good understanding of all of that because we do have some experience coming back and the experience of the Auburn prep last year and that ball game hopefully will help them.
Let me interrupt before it goes on. ESPN has not announced that game day is coming.
I was going to say.
So it's got a good chance to be, but they have not.
Well, that's my plug. That's my plug.
To the bigger picture, you've always made it clear that your objective is to win every game, and your objective is
Absolutely.
to always be a contender, but you frequently use the phrases, to have a great team, we need to do this. If we're going to be in that mix at the end of the season, we need to do this. That becomes that brings that whole idea of your hope, your wish, your dream of being a national contender this season more sharply into focus. How do you insulate the team from getting too caught up in all that?
Again, just focusing on our daily preparation, doing your job, staying committed on and off the field to the standard that we've set, and that's just everybody doing the best that they can do. Don't worry about scoreboards and all that. Worry about, the journey, the preparation, execution. That's what you have to focus on, and just really blocking all the other stuff out. Because at the end of the day, if we can just compete consistently at a high level, we're going to win a lot of games because we're good enough. I mean, we're good enough. We've got a good football team. If we're going to be a great football team, then that competitive consistency has to be at a high level. That was one of the things that I hope our team got out of last year. That was a big message for me to the team. If you just study us the last 2 years, 11 we're 8-0, and we got 42 freshmen on the roster, and man, we've arrived. And then we're like a roller coaster, trying to finish the season. Respect this team, don't respect this team, just that type of deal. And I thought our team took a major step forward last year. Really competed their tails off. Had 2 losses and had a chance to win both of those games in the fourth quarter, and we didn't get it done. Both teams finished in the top 10, but we competed consistently all year. Hey, maybe played a little better in some spots and this and that. But the thing that I think our guys learned from last year is that, and then that was the message going into the LSU game, if you're going to be elite, the margin for error is very small. It's very small. And everything matters. It all matters. That was the thing that I was most excited about in our bowl game, was just to see us make the few critical plays that you have to make in ball games like that, and kind of get over that hump. So I think our team understands that the margin for error to be a national championship contender is very small, but that's not any different for anybody. But that's why you want to be in that, top 10, 12, 15 teams. Because if you can live in that realm consistently, you know what, you're going to put it together. There's going to be that year where, because the ball's not round, as I tell them all the time, and it doesn't always bounce our way. But there's going to be that year where, you get that break or two that you need. Some of the things that are out of your control maybe go your way, and you have opportunity when it's all said and done to play for it. And that's our ultimate objective. And yes, I mean, from my seat, nobody's going to be happy, truly happy, unless you win them all. You win them all, there's still going to be somebody mad about how you won them, or something. That's just the nature of the beast. So the objective is to take every Saturday or every Thursday, whenever we play, and just compete the best that we can. Focus on Clemson. Focus on the things that we control. Respect every opponent, but don't get wrapped up in who the opponent is. Be more concerned about us, because at the end of the day, I believe that we're good enough to play, each and every Saturday at a high level, and that's what our ultimate goal is to do.
Talk about having a first-team All-American quarterback coming back for you this season.
Well, that's just a real blessing. I mean, it really is. I mean, it's something that I hope I get to experience many more times in my career. Having a great player that you get the privilege to be around for a few years and watch him grow and get better and develop. And I wish it was the NFL, and we could just sign him to a contract, keep him as long as we want. You see those guys get better and better and better. And Tajh Boyd is not only a great player, but y'all all know Tajh. He just lights up the room. I mean, he's such a fun guy to go to work with every day. It's important to him to win. He's got guts. He's got toughness. He's got instincts. He just is a special person, and I'm so proud of his development. I'm proud of how he's handled his success. I'm proud of how he's handled his disappointments and how he's represented our program and represented this university for 4 years. And I want to see him have a great 5 months or so. I really do, because he deserves that. My hope and prayer is that he stays healthy, because if number 10's on the field, we got a chance. And I think anybody in this business would tell you, when you got a great trigger guy, you always got a chance, and he gives us that opportunity every single week. So it's a lot of fun to have a guy like that, and you enjoy these times when you have him, because when he's gone, you're kind of new guy starting over, and new journey, so to speak.
What are some things that concern you or you look at to see get better as camp goes along?
Well, I think the big thing for me is our secondary. Obviously, that's going to be the area that, if I'm sitting in the stands, that's what I'm watching, because there's a lot of question marks coming out of last season. And to be fair to those guys last year, we were very thin going into the season, and then you just get decimated with injuries. But from where we were this time last year, we have 9 new pieces. 8 signees and Martin Jenkins, who was out all year. So we got 9 guys to work with out of 15 guys on scholarship. 9. And I'm just really excited about having the type of competition at that position that you got to have on the practice field to create the edge and really develop guys and find the guys that are going to compete at the highest level for you, and hopefully create the depth that we need to sustain the year. That's probably the biggest thing is the guys in the secondary. I feel good about our offensive line. We just obviously lost Dalton. I'm not excited that we lost Dalton. The guy was tremendous. Very consistent. Physically snapping the ball, and was such a coach on the field for us. That's hard to replace. But I think we've got good players, and we've got some young guys. Not quite ready. A guy like Isaiah Battle. Well, I wish he's ready to just take a job. He's not ready. Maybe he'll be a great backup for us. Maybe mid-season he's ready to mature a little bit more. Who knows? But I think we got a lot of guys that are going to really provide some competition and depth as we go throughout the season up front. Probably the other area that's going to be fun to watch is running back. I think that I love the guys we have. But on the outside looking in, there's probably some question marks there. Is Hot Rod going to step up and be the everyday, consistent guy? I think he is. I think he's ready for that. Is DJ going to stay healthy? Is Zach Brooks going to take that next step? I think the answer is yes, yes, yes. But you got to go do it. And so if I'm on the outside looking in, I would say that's probably an area that there's a question mark. And then is there a young guy or two that could get in the mix there? We'll see. The other thing is tight end. We had our really salty veteran in Sam Cooper. People don't really have a great appreciation for the job that Danny Pearman does, first of all, in coaching those guys. It's probably, outside of the quarterback, the most difficult position to play. It is unbelievable the amount of football that those guys have to learn. And then you lose a guy. Sam was smart and crafty, and just, we were at level 3 with him, and now we're kind of, at level 1, and we got to be playing at level 3 right out of the gate. With Seckinger and Leggett, who's a freshman out of high school, J.J. McCullough, who's a freshman. So that's an area that I really want to see some growth during camp. I really feel good. Stanton Seckinger's 235 pounds now. I saw him yesterday. I couldn't believe it. His neck just grows right into his shoulders now. So I'm excited about those guys. But, we got a lot of work to do in fall camp.
Yeah, but you mentioned you touched on the offensive line. Earlier today, Robbie was out there chatting away, and it's kind of hard to take your focus away from him. He seems like such a good storyteller. Is he like that in team meetings as well as?
What you see is what you get with Robbie Caldwell.
Yeah.
I mean, he is who he is all the time. Staff meetings, position meetings, he's just that way all the time. And I think that's one of the reasons that he's an excellent coach and he's had such a good career. He just is who he is. And very transparent guy, and takes a lot of pride in the guys' performance that are playing under him. And I really appreciate that.
You mentioned last night about Tajh's draft grade coming back and all that stuff. How do you address maybe the temptation that might be there to say, hey, I got to do X, Y, Z different to raise my stock in those guys' eyes?
Well, I think the biggest thing is if you really just pay attention to the draft and all that kind of stuff, team success is critical. It really is. So, when you start putting individual performance over team success and team performance, it's usually not a good recipe. And I think Tajh, he didn't come back for himself. He came back because he wants to win a national championship. He loves playing at Clemson. He's not going out on that field against Georgia thinking about the NFL draft.
Yeah.
He's going out on that field thinking about, how do I win this game? And to me, the true measure of a quarterback is, does he win? Does he lead? Does he find a way to win? And that's what he's done as good as anybody we've had here. And he's got a chance to leave here as the winningest quarterback in the history of this school. So he needs, I think, 12 wins to get that done. So
Good number.
I'm all for that. I'm pulling hard for him. And again, Nuke Hopkins was a first rounder because he performed. His team was successful, and he performed at a very high level and consistent level week in, week out. There were some other highly rated guys, maybe projected first rounders this past year, whose team wasn't as successful and their performance wasn't very good. And they weren't drafted where they thought they'd be drafted. So I think when you start worrying about the NFL will take care of itself. What you focus on is, how do I perform at a high level consistently every single week? And if you really want to be drafted high, that's what you got to do, because the NFL is going to draft you based on performance. If you're in the upper level, you get middle rounds and a little some more projections and stuff in there, but you're going to be in those first couple of rounds. You better perform at a high level, and most of the time your team needs to have some success.
Is it possible to quantify how important and integral Tajh is to the offense, just as far as the number of calls and checks and plays he has to make?
Well, it's people don't really have a full understanding, just the average person out there, what he does, and that's where his growth has been just phenomenal from his first year as a starter. We play fast. We don't have time to call a perfect play. We can't get enough information that quick to call a perfect play. Now there's times where we're appearing to play fast, but we're really playing slower, and we're looking for information so that we can check to the right play. But more time than not, Tajh has to make the decision of whether he's handing it, he's running it, or he's throwing it. Based on what is being presented to him pre-snap and post-snap. And sometimes it's 3 steps into the snap before he can really make that decision. And everything for us is predicated on the run game. Everything. So it is very, very critical to be successful in what we do, that your quarterback is fluid, smooth, and have a great understanding of the decision-making process. And he has grown tremendously in that regard, and that's one of the reasons we've gotten better the last 2 years. And he needs to take another step this year. And as we go back and study last year and see things where, to the naked eye, they just think, oh well, running back, the offensive line didn't block anybody or whatever. But in reality, he didn't make the right decision. He knows that, and I expect him to even be better than he was last year.
When you say everything's predicated on the run game, it seems a little off, because a lot of people think of you guys as this team that comes out and throws it all over the place. What do you mean by that?
We're built to run. I mean, that's what we do. I mean, we're doing the same things I did at Alabama. We still run the power. You know, we're running the counter. We run the zone. Been doing those things for years. We just do it a little bit differently. Do it a little differently, sometimes a little differently formationally, and we do it really fast. That's the big thing. But our big plays come from the presentation of the run game, play action, and again, there's a lot of the passes that you see. They're actually called runs. They just turn into passes because of what they're giving us. We're a take what you're going to give us type of system, you know, and they can't be everywhere. You know, we're gonna formation you. We're gonna play fast. We're going to stretch the field horizontally. Y'all watch us. Well, that ball is going downfield several times a game, and really, I don't really care if it's complete. I mean, we got to hit some of them, but a lot of times it's just, you know, trying to create the mentality that we need to have, and send the message that we need to have. Because when you can put good people out there, you can cause some problems. And we've got good skill at every position. And then we got a quarterback who can pull the trigger. But there's a bunch of passes. If you really study us and you know what you're looking at, you watch our offensive line, they're blocking the run. They're not pass protecting, they're blocking the run. But because of, you know, what's triggered by a certain position, whether it be a defensive lineman, a linebacker, or a secondary guy, it turns into a pass. And nobody even knows it. You know, so that's the beauty of what we do. But if you don't have the run game that we need to have, then those plays aren't there. And so a lot of people, you know, when you got an Andre Ellington back there, they're going to say, hey, we're not going to let these guys run the football. We're going to make this guy beat us. And so, you know, we take what we get. At the end of the day, we really want to have some type of balance when the season's over, but we don't go into a game saying, hey, we got to be 50-50. You know, some games maybe 70-30. But when it's all said and done, if we're doing things the right way when the season's over, you know, we're going to be a pretty balanced football team. And with that comes the explosiveness that we've been able to have.
Both you and Chad have both expressed a desire today to get Battle, if not even when you're starting role, into a heavier rotation there. How far away is he? You know, what are his biggest hurdles? Are they more mental than physical?
We'll see. You know, he was a long way away this spring. Had a disappointing spring. Just commitment. You know, maturity. You know, just not quite ready to, you know, bite that bit down. You know, and so that's why I'm anxious to kind of get to camp. You know, where is he? You know, where is he mentally? I know he's had a solid summer. He's probably been a little inconsistent, frustrates some of the guys from time to time. He's not a bad guy. He's just a kind of a maturing young player that we don't want to be patient on. You know, we really need him to, because it's all there for him. So we'll see. And for me, you know, is he ready to be a starter? I would say he's a long way from that, you know, based on what I saw this spring. But I'm also very encouraged by some of the things I saw this spring. And if he'll just keep progressing, at some point, that guy is going to be a great player. Isn't Brandon Thomas on like a bunch of lists or something for a great offensive line or whatever? I use him as an example. Brandon Thomas was the most frustrating redshirt freshman, redshirt sophomore. Oh my God, that kid was so frustrating to coach because you just could see all this talent, but we just couldn't quite get him to have the same sense of urgency that you know, Thomas Austin had, you know, or Dalton had. We just couldn't quite get him to just go like we needed him to, you know, like Hairston. And you know what? He eventually, the lights came on for him, and now he's the best player we got. You know, guy's gonna be a great pro. You know, it's frustrating that it took him a couple of years to decide. All right, I'm ready for this, and I can do this. But you know, that's just part of growing guys up, part of the process. Battle wasn't ready to play last year, but we didn't have any other choice. I wish I could have redshirted him, put him on the shelf, put him down there in the weight room, beat him up a little bit, put him in power hour, and then start over this year. But we couldn't do that. So it is what it is. And all I know is you know, if he'll hang in there and be coachable, and just keep picking them up and putting them down every day. At some point, he'll be a great player for us. But, you know, we got a bunch of guys. I mean, Joe Gore, hey, I'm encouraged with Shaq Anthony and how he has come back, kind of resurrected himself now. He's up to about 295 pounds and has worked hard this summer and has kind of paid the price in the spring semester and this summer to kind of reemerge. Because we kind of just said, hey, you know, because he kind of blew his opportunity this year. But he's really bounced back from that. So we'll see. Martavis Bryant, another perfect example. You know, I'm a big believer that you reap what you sow. I told Martavis the other day, he's reaped what he's sown his first 2 years of college football. But buddy, he's been sowing some good stuff this spring and this summer. And I think he's going to reap the benefits of that this fall. And so it's encouraging to just see guys grow and mature and change and eventually figure it out. You wish it didn't have to be as hard for some of them as it is. And, you know, I think Battle is a perfect example of that. Hey, Eric McLean, he's 300 pounds. This time last year, he was a tight end. You know, I mean, he's smart, he's tough. I think we've got plenty of guys that are going to be able to compete and be what we want to be. You know, Battle athletically is a pretty special guy, but you know, athletically and talent don't get it done. Performance gets it done, and hopefully he'll grow up and perform at the level he needs to.
You had some instances over your career where guys have shown up and just shocked you that all of a sudden the light went on their own, or does it almost always take getting them back into camp and coaching them up? Or have you had a rare instance where the guys all of a sudden started camp and said, man, this guy's miles ahead of where he was when we left him?
No question. Yeah, I've seen that a million times. Guys that make huge strides from spring to fall camp. Oh, many times. Listen, I was with Chris Samuels at Alabama, who won the Outland Trophy. He was the 3rd or 4th pick in the draft. He was like one of the last players that we signed, and he was a redshirt, and he was a terrible redshirt freshman. He was lazy and not committed, and you know, all of a sudden the light toward the end of his redshirt sophomore year started to kind of come on, and then his junior year became a dominant player. In his senior year, he was the best lineman in the country, and then he played many Pro Bowls and all that in the NFL. So I just draw on all those experiences. And when you have a talented guy that's, you know, just maybe not coming as fast as you want him to, but yet he's not a bad guy. He just, you know, not as mature. You just keep pushing him, and you know that light's going to come on. And I know that'll be the case for Battle at some point. Hopefully it's this year. Hopefully it's in fall camp. Hopefully it's whenever. But you know, he's not the key cog in the wheel for us right now. He's just a guy that I hope will take another step. But we can certainly win without him.
You put Kalen Davis